अरे नहीं 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 नहीं, हम लोग फौज है, हम लोग बैठो बैठो, हम लोग फौज है, बैठो बैठो,
मेरे बच्चों को
अरे हम लोग फौजी हैं, कुछ नहीं करेंगे, आपकी सेफ्टी के लिए आए हैं, आपकी सेफ्टी के लिए आए हैं, बैठो 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 बैठो, आपकी सेफ्टी के लिए आए हैं, हम इंडियन आर्मी हैं, बैठो।
ये इंडियन आर्मी
आप लोग कहाँ से आए हो, कहाँ से आए आप लोग हैं?
Well, the chorus across the nation is loud and clear. The people want decisive action and direct action against Pakistan and its proxies. That is the chorus across the nation. Take decisive and direct action against Pakistan and its proxies. There is widespread anger in the nation over the cowardly attack in Pahalgam that has left 28 people dead. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who visited the attack site a short while ago, assured the nation that Bharat will not bend to terror and the perpetrators of the dastardly attack will not be spared. Shah, who has been camping in Srinagar since last evening, also met the family members of the victims before heading to Pahalgam. Shah will rush back to Delhi later in the day to attend the crucial Cabinet Committee on Security meeting to be chaired by the Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi at 6 p.m. How India responds to this big provocation by Pakistan will depend on what the Cabinet Committee on Security decides. Meanwhile, protests have broken out across Kashmir, condemning the brutal attack. Well, this is the first time in recent years that people of Kashmir Valley have taken to the streets against terror and terrorists. Political parties in the valley have also closed ranks, saying that this attack will not be tolerated. There are candlelight whistles in Pahalgam last night, with locals saying they were Indians first and not allow killing of fellow Indians on their soil. This is unprecedented and the nation has truly united against terror. All eyes are now on the retaliatory action to be taken by the government of India. Interestingly, there are some reports doing rounds that Pakistan has kept its air force on high alert. So, is Pakistan anticipating another surgical strike? What are the options before India? Joining me on this special broadcast are two very well-known commentators. One is, of course, Dr. Ajay Sahni, Executive Director of the Institute for Conflict Management, one of India's well-known counter-terrorism experts. And I have with me Lieutenant General retired Rana Pratap Kalita, the former GOC-in-C of the Army's Eastern Command. Gentlemen, welcome to this live broadcast. Now, to you first, Dr. Ajay Sahni, the chorus across the nation, as I said, is one: take decisive and direct action against Pakistan and its proxies.
I don't think policies are decided by these kind of choruses. This has been a terrible incident, and obviously there has to be some kind of a retaliation. We have to identify who precisely has done this, and we have to target very narrowly those who are responsible for this. If, of course, Pakistan is seen to be demonstrably behind this, which is very likely, of course, that a group based in Pakistan has orchestrated this, even if it is, as is being put out, the resistance front, which is a front of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. The Lashkar-e-Taiba in particular becomes a target of potential attack. I think the most effective action or the most effective avenue at this juncture to be explored would not be a direct action, but rather covert responses. And India does have certain capacities for covert action in Pakistan today. And that is the direction we should take without trying to unnecessarily escalate in actions which have been taken in the past, where explicit military initiatives have been launched with extremely questionable, shall we say, impact. So instead of going a conventional military route, I think we should be focusing on the possibilities of covert responses to against the responsible groups and state.
Now, let me take this question to General Kalita. General Kalita, you know, what should be India's response? Because you see, the Prime Minister has cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia. He's back in New Delhi. He has already been briefed by the intelligence agencies. He had a meeting with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and the NSA Ajit Doval. What should be India's response according to you?
Yeah, firstly, I think the response has to be at different level.
Firstly, let me talk from the tactical level. At the tactical level, that's on ground, the response has to be, first response is to launch a coordinated operation, basically to hunt out the perpetrators of this heinous crime. So that has already been launched, and also to provide a sense of security to the and solace to the people who have undergone this huge tragedy. Not only that, not only the relatives of the people who have been killed and the injured, but also the locals of that area, the tourists which are present in Jammu and Kashmir. They have to be provided the confidence that they can stay there or they can complete their stay and then thereafter leave that particular area. So at the tactical level, I think hunting out the perpetrators and giving confidence to the local population as also the tourists, that is the first action that needs to be taken. And while the anger is justified and people, everybody across the board, the whole nation is calling for immediate retaliation, but like Dr. Sani had mentioned, that cannot be, just a knee-jerk reaction. It has to be well thought through. Firstly, we need to identify who all are involved in this particular attack. Though TRF, the Resistance Forum Force, has owned up this attack, which is a front of LET, and there are masters who are firmly ensconced in POK and in Pakistan. So we need to identify the perpetrators and who all are behind this particular attack. And thereafter, we need to take a comprehensive action at the national level, which should go into various domains of diplomatic, economic, as also military.
Right.
So it has to be a well thought out response. That's what I would like to mention.
Right. Now, one thing we have noticed, Dr. Sani, is that the entire Kashmir Valley, the people have come out on the streets. There has been candlelight vigil. People are saying, people like Mehbooba Mufti and even the ordinary people in Kashmir are saying this is not an attack just on the tourists from different parts of the country. It's an attack on Kashmiriyat. It's an attack on us. Lakhs of people, Kashmiris, were involved in the business of tourism. And this, by killing the tourists, is not just killing a group of outsiders who had visited, but it's attacking directly us, that is the Kashmiris. And Mehbooba said that it's an attack on Kashmiriyat. Now, this is something which was not seen in the Kashmir Valley in the past. So spontaneous kind of anger on the streets.
You see, there has been historically a very strong unwritten contract between the local population in Kashmir, particularly the valley, and the various terrorist organizations, that the tourist trade would not be targeted. Even at the peak of terrorism, there were very few incidents in which the tourists were targeted. There were a few incidents, but nothing of this scale. And this was because almost every single family in Kashmir depends directly or indirectly on the tourist trade. It is the largest, shall we say, sector of the economy. And if you kill the tourist trade, you kill the population. So any group who would be found responsible for this would immediately lose all possible sympathy or support of the larger population in the valley.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the protests are a manifestation of precisely this factor that, look, as you were saying, that Mehbooba is saying that, look, you're not just killing outsiders, you're killing the Kashmiris. Now, nobody said this after the Riyasi attack in which, 8 or 9 pilgrims were killed.
Right.
Because that doesn't bother them. They're fine with pilgrims and pilgrimages being attacked.
Absolutely, it's the economy
when tourism is attacked, then it's a problem.
Absolutely. There is a breaking news coming in that quoting sources that the main objective of the attack was to hit Jammu and Kashmir's economy. The terrorists had come with dry fruits and medicines, hinting that they were prepared for a long haul. There was also local help for the Pak terrorists, according to the sources. This is the breaking news. As Dr. Sani said, the main target of the terrorists was to hit the economy of Jammu and Kashmir, because General Kalita, the social media was flooded with visuals and pictures of tourists enjoying the scenic beauty of Kashmir. Let's go to everybody on the screen. Now, General Kalita, now what is new as far as the response is concerned? Now, yesterday we saw Farooq Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti sitting together, and there were other political leaders sitting together and condemning the attack. Today, Mehbooba Mufti told journalists a short while ago that this is an attack on Kashmiriyat. Ordinary people coming out on the streets, as Dr. Sani said, the economy has been hit. Ordinary people said that, we are not going to support, we are condemn this Pakistani action in any case. So this kind of a response, do you think, do you look at it as a something new kind of a response on the streets of J&K?
Yeah, that firstly, the spontaneous candlelight march which took place last night, immediately after the attack, across various places in the valley, that's something new which has come about. Even in the earlier attacks also, we are generally condemned by all the political parties and the masses as well. But such spontaneous protests which took place last night, like in places like Sopore and Baramulla and Pahalgam, that is something which is new, which you need to take note of. And definitely, like Dr. Sani has said, and you have also mentioned, because this attack hits the economy, because the tourists have been directly targeted. Generally, such large-scale attack on tourists have not certain things, certain number of times where they to target Amarnath Yatra, but that's in a different context. But tourism as a whole, as an industry, it sustains the Kashmiri economy. So tourism tourists have not been targeted so far, at least in the large scale, but small, yes, isolated incidents here and there, like a couple of years ago also in Pahalgam itself, I think a couple from Jaipur were attacked. So something like that had happened, but not such a large scale attack. But in this, I would like to bring up one more issue. Is you see, there are these different scales of attack which take place in Kashmir. We have to understand the various different types of attack which are taking place. And one is the attack on the security forces, which is a direct military confrontation between the terrorists and the security forces, basically to show their relevance and to show their authority to the people, to gain their support. And the second is to, such small-scale attacks like against the non-locals, to create some sort of a fear psychosis among the people. And the third, I would like to categorize is such large-scale attack, like what had happened in Pahalgam, or what happened in Pulwama, or what happened in Uri, or in Chitty Singhpura in 2000. These are basically aimed at a strategic messaging by the perpetrators, as also these attacks the confidence of the nation. Like this particular incident, if we look at it, I know it has shaken the confidence of the nation in our ability to retain and maintain peace in Jammu and Kashmir, and to ensure that it returns back to normalcy where peace and development can take place.
Right. Now another aspect of this whole issue, Dr. Sani, I'd like to bring to your attention. What about the timing of this attack? Number one, one of the main suspects in the 26/11 Mumbai attack, Tahawur Rana, that the notorious Pakistani Canadian national, India has successfully been able to get his custody, and he was extradited from the United States. He is in Indian custody at the moment, number one. Number two, there's this very high profile ongoing visit of the United States Vice President J.D. Vance and his family. It's a high profile event going on, because he's not like a conventional vice president. He has the years to the president of US and so on. And then what is going on in Balochistan, the Pakistanis getting hit after hit by their own rebellion within the Baloch territory. Now, how do you look at this timing and all these events? Do you see a pattern? Do you think sort of a retaliation, desperate act?
Frankly, I have always felt that whenever a major incident occurs, we start looking for patterns. As a matter of fact, we have listings of literally hundreds of major attacks by the terrorists in Jammu Kashmir alone. And not more than a dozen of these actually coincide with a major geopolitical event. So to be looking for patterns is very, very questionable. People are also trying to link it up to say the speech by the chief of army staff in Pakistan.
Yes.
Asim Munir. Yes. So I wouldn't look for patterns until I actually have reason to believe that there is I know who's done this and I understand their motives. We still haven't identified this. Furthermore, you must ask yourself one thing. Is this something new? Yes, there are certain elements of novelty. Tourists have been attacked. But this is an ongoing war. It's been going on for 35 years plus. Every time a shot is fired, you start asking the question, why is this done? It's done because we are at war. It's done because they find an opportunity, they take a hit, and in this case, a large number of people have been killed. In other cases, lesser numbers of people are being killed.
But Dr. Sani,
the effort is ongoing. The effort is not something that, we haven't had any terrorism for so much time, and now J.D. Vance is over here, so they've killed 28 people.
Dr. Sani, but would you like to dismiss the fact that, in past roughly about 2 decades, this is the biggest attack on unarmed civilians in Kashmir?
It's not the only attempt on unarmed civilians. How many people were there in the bus in Riyasi? Just because only 9 people died doesn't mean that the attempt was to kill only 9 people. The attempt was to kill 50, 60 people. But 9 people died. Tough luck. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. The number of people is not being calibrated by the terrorists. That is the result of opportunity, weaponry, training, planning. There are multiple factors. But every time a terrorist goes out, he's trying to do the maximal damage possible. The fact that he has succeeded in this case reflects perhaps better planning, perhaps certain vulnerabilities which are very obvious because of the complacency around the whole idea that tourists will not be targeted.
Right.
These people were being allowed to go out into fairly remote areas where there was little or no security presence. This has not happened at Pahalgam town.
So,
it has happened. So trekking routes far outside.
Let me ask the general one thing. What general, if you can hear me, what Dr. Sani is saying that we should not look at a pattern as such of these attacks. Now, he said that people are allowed to go deeper into the countryside, deeper into the forest. When you go to Pahalgam, the incident did not take place in Pahalgam town. The people were on horseback going deep into the meadows and into the bushes and the forest nearby. Now, do you think that was in some way something which the authorities did fail to anticipate, or do you think there was some complacency somewhere that had set in?
No, you see, now in hindsight, we can always come up with certain sense of complacency or certain faults on part of the authorities. But I think the way that things have panned out in Jammu and Kashmir, the improvement of situation, the participation of the locals in the parliamentary elections in 2024, which was a clear signal of, acceptance of the new normalcy, which has come into being in Kashmir. So there was increased confidence within the system, as within the population or the government and the various stakeholders, and that's how everybody accepted that is signs of return to normalcy. But isolated incidents have always been taking place, like Dr. Sani had mentioned about the attack on the bus of the pilgrimage, which took place in Jammu region 1 year back, where 10 people were killed because the bus went down after it was attacked. So these sort of things are there, but I don't find that I don't think there is a sense of complacency which can be attributed, but definitely such kind of large-scale attack was probably not anticipated. Isolated attacks were in any case taking place in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah. Right. Assam Chief Minister's office has spoken to the family of Professor Debashish Bhattacharya, a professor of the Assam University in Silchar, with a narrow escape. Professor Bhattacharya, his wife and child were in that scene of the massacre yesterday afternoon. They hid in the bushes and somehow managed to escape the carnage. Assam Chief Minister's office took stock of the situation, spoke to the family members and is making arrangements to bring the family back to Assam. They are in touch with the Ministry of Home Affairs as well. That is the breaking news at this point in time. Now, Dr. Sani, okay, whenever an incident happens, people like us in the media or people like the commentators and analysts always try to find out reasons. That is, of course, natural to expect. But can we dismiss the fact that, can we dismiss the possibility of Pakistan and its proxies looking for an opportunity to divert attention from, what is going on at home? The economy is in shambles, and the Balochistan, they have received some of the biggest hits against the security forces, against the Pakistani security forces by the Baloch rebels. So, don't you think that, this could be some kind of an attempt to deflect attention at home?
This also goes back to something that General Kalita said before I move to this question. You see, security assessments are made in accordance with the situation on the ground. There was an assessment at one point of time that Jammu is relatively safe. So there was a dilution of force over there, which resulted in the weakening of the grid, which resulted in those spate of 3 or 4 incidents taking place last year. Immediately there was a response, and there was we have not seen any major incident thereafter. So you can't saturate every inch of Kashmir with force and make it impossible for any incident to take place. There will always be gaps, and those gaps occur because an assessment is made that, look, this area has never been targeted, will not be targeted. And it is on the basis of such assessments that real deployments are made on the ground. So this is not a failure. This is part of how the system works, and it will be exploited by the adversary. Now, as far as Pakistan is concerned, let me remind you that when Pakistan was in a relatively more stable and much better position, there was far more trouble in Kashmir than there is now. So to say that, Pakistan is in trouble, therefore Kashmir, I told you that, I said this before. This is an ongoing war. You don't start looking for new motives every time.
So
Munir has made certain statements, but these statements were made again and again and again by army chiefs, by political leaders, etc., all of whom have said that Kashmir is our jugular. Muslims are suffering over there. We must launch jihad over there. Everybody said it. Understand that the scale of operations is defined by the capacity of the state backing them. Do they want to distract attention from that? I could have the reverse argument. They don't want any attention to Kashmir right now because they've got so many internal difficulties. But both these options are speculative.
Right.
I don't know what their motives are.
No.
We should not apply motives where we have no basis. That is completely unjustifiable if you are trying to make a security assessment.
Right. Now, I'm also joined at this moment by Mr. Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta, the former Director General of the Assam Police and currently the Chief Information Commissioner of Assam. Mr. Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta, I was asking General Kalita and Dr. Ajay Sani whether they see anything in the timing of this attack, because my question was there was a high-profile visitor in the state, the Vice President of the US, the Tahawur Rana, one of the prime accused in the 26/11 Mumbai attack, has been successfully brought to India. Got himself extradited from the United States. And what is happening in Balochistan? And both the gentlemen have said that it will not be proper to attribute motive behind this, and Dr. Sani says this is an ongoing war. But my question to you, Mr. Bhaskar Jyoti Mohanto, is that naturally the common voice across the country now after yesterday's incident is that there has to be direct and decisive action against Pakistan and its proxies. How do you look, and what do you think should be the Indian response?
Basically, I'll take a little different call. J.D. Vance's visit is being viewed as very important, all right. There are instances like President Clinton's visit in 2000, when the large number of Sikhs were assassinated. They have been doing this kind of thing. Pakistan's trying to internationalize Kashmir, especially when there is a high-profile visit. Also, when Prime Minister Wasbir has visited Lahore, around that time, about 20 people were killed in Rajouri, just to attract attention and deflect. That kind of a situation had happened time and again. So J.D. Vance's visit and the assassination timing coinciding with it does have a connection, all right, I would say. And Asif Muni's jive at India and recent lectures about two-nation theories, etc., India not caring for Pakistan at all. And there did perhaps he betrayed certain amount of emotion about a possibility of such thing coming into Kashmir. On the other hand, we had thought that Kashmir is now under control, and as Dr. Sahni had mentioned, that security forces have been withdrawn to quite an extent. There have been quite an amount of gap areas, but then there is an SOP. I'm told a friend of mine from Kashmir had called and he said there's an SOP, especially on any high-profile visit. That SOP comes into being. I'm not too sure whether that SOP, standard operating procedure, especially during the visit of a high dignitary, was put in place or not. So there would be, I'm sure, questions asked about lack of security presence around. However, yes, talking about rightfully so, India is very angry. The kind of response that the demand for response that is coming is obviously very egoistic. But then India has to take a look at it as an ongoing war, and publicly staged operations across LOC, like the post-Uri operation, is one perhaps, one of the public show that can be perhaps thought in terms of.
Okay.
There has been
now that we'll have to wait and watch whether they will go for a public display or they will go for a covert operation. India has a lot of capabilities. India's deep state also we cannot ignore on this day and age. Now the point is, I'll go to General Kalita, but very quickly, the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has announced an ex gratia of rupees 10 lakh each for the families of the deceased and rupees 2 lakh each for those seriously injured, and rupees 1 lakh will be given to those with minor injuries. That is what the Jammu and Kashmir government has done. They've announced ex gratia payment to those killed as well as injured. That is the breaking news. Let me go quickly to General Kalita. General Kalita, whenever this kind of an incident happens, we talk about joint operations, we talk about enhancing security. Now, you are well aware of the high degree of security, the layered security that is in place or has always been in place in Jammu and Kashmir. You are well aware of the number, of the strength of the forces, whether it is the army, whether it is the paramilitary, or whether it is the police or the special police officers and what not. Now, in this kind of a situation, what more can be done? What more can we expect?
Jammu and Kashmir, because of the ongoing insurgency movement since 1990, has got a very good system in place of coordinated joint operations, because that unified headquarter and joint control, which is functioning since 90s, has been functioning very well. Since I was posted there a number of times, and I have practically attended such coordination meetings and all. And this system is working very well as far as launching the operations and coordinating is concerned, including intelligence coordination. However, like Dr. Sani had mentioned, it is impossible to saturate the entire area with troops. So, this based on the threat envisaged and what sort of protection you need to provide, there are certain key areas which are identified where you put in forces for security of such areas, like security of lines of communication, security of certain vulnerable areas. They are prioritized. Like Amarnath Yatra, when it comes up, the entire lines of communication is secured so that the Amarnath Yatra can pass off peacefully. However, I think what the need of the hour is to utilize technology more imaginatively to supplement the efforts of boots on ground. I think that is something which we need to look at. With the advent of technology like in surveillance and intelligence collections and all other things, a lot of things have come into the market and which are available off the shelf. I think imaginative use of technology is the need of hour.
Absolutely. Imaginative use of technology. Already the National Intelligence Agency has released sketches of the 3 terror suspects. Already the resistance front, or the TRF, which is a proxy of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility for the ghastly attack. And these are the 3 pictures. In fact, one of them has been identified as Asif Fauzi. He has been identified, the man in the photograph, with a vest and with a shack on in front, and there are 2 other. Those are the 2 sketches released by the National Investigation Agency forensic team based on conversations and impressions by talking to people and so on. And one of them have already been, and that is the photograph of the suspected terrorist who carried out his ghastly attack. Some of them apparently were clad in Pakistani army fatigues, and some of them were clad in black outfits and so on, and they were carrying highly sophisticated weapons, assault rifles and so on. So it was a premeditated deadly strike, and there are some reports that said that the terrorist had been carrying out recce's of this area from April 1st itself, but we cannot independently verify these reports. And what is breaking news coming in is that Defense Minister Rajnath Singh held a crucial meeting. He was briefed by the 3 service chiefs a short while ago, and that Cabinet Committee on Security meeting is taking place at 6 p.m. After the return of Home Minister Amit Shah from Kashmir. Nirmala Sitharaman, another member of the Cabinet Committee on Security, has cut short her trip to the United States and Peru. She is also returning back. The Prime Minister has already come back. The External Affairs Minister is here. The Defense Minister is here. So that Cabinet Committee on Security taking place, the NSA Ajit Doval has already briefed the Prime Minister along with the DIB and so on. Now let me go to you, Dr. Sani. What would we expect? Now, basically, we have seen once again that 28 people have died. The loss is to the Kashmiri traders, business people. The economy has been hit, and those people have lost their loved ones. Now, you are saying that this is an ongoing war. Now, what is to be done? There is no scope of any dialogue with Pakistan at this point in time. We have tried it in the past unsuccessfully. Do you think this war and measures to counter the war, do you think this is going to go on like this? Dr. Sani? Okay, let me take that question to Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta, and I'll ask the same question to Dr. Ajay Sani later. Bhaskar, yes.
As per my information, there are about 60 numbers of foreign terrorists sitting pretty out there in Kashmir right now. 35 of them are LET or TRF with this guy Sadat Jat or Lengra as their leader. And the rest of them are 20 to 25 be about Jaish. And the local varieties are much lesser. Now these guys, you rightly say that the terrain is so very difficult for the security forces to be getting after them. Despite application, the drones won't fly, for example, in those difficult hilly and terrains of jungles, etc. Even the drone feeds would be misleading. So adopting right kind of technology in this regard, especially they have stopped using mobile phone, telephony. They know that they can be tracked and they have become very sophisticated. In fact, the whole operation has a telltale signature of a long drawn, thought out plans. It's not just a suddenly emerging group coming and opening fire, staccato fire on unsuspecting civilians. No, it is a thought out operations, and perhaps there are important, interesting brains working on it for quite some time. So we need to look at it actually, not merely the guys who are caught so far, but the players behind these guys need to be really identified. And if we find that these guys are having, in addition to the non-state actor, some state actors
Right.
are at it big time, then I guess India has to do what it must.
Right. Now, Dr. Sani, Dr. Sani is, you can hear me, I suppose, now.
I can now, yes, I
Okay,
got you.
Along with the rest of the country, Northeast is no exception. There's been protests and meetings everywhere, condolence meetings. People are out on the streets protesting. All the chief ministers of the Northeastern region have already expressed their condemnation and so on. Now it is the common people who are coming out on the streets. My question to you, a short while ago when the line got disconnected, you said that this is a continuing war. Yes, this is a continuing war. Are we expected to just wait and watch and see this kind of killings after a brief lull or after a couple of months of peace? Because last couple of weeks the social media was flooded with photographs of people enjoying in the Kashmir, the same very place, and they were just enjoying the landscape, they were enjoying the scenic and the picturesque beauty of the place.
I said it's a continuing war, and in this continuing war, it is not as if we have been sitting on our hands. You must understand that there was a time in 2001 when more than 4,000 people were killed in Jammu and Kashmir. We are now down to a figure of 100, 150, 137 last year, if I remember the figure correctly. So we have, I would suggest, substantially won the war. The idea that there must be a dramatic resolution. We will bomb them out. Pakistan is foundering. It is crumbling under the weight of its Kashmir campaign. All these things that you mentioned earlier as motives for doing something in Kashmir, the internal dissensions, the credibility of the army itself in Pakistan is today verging on collapse. All these are consequences both of internal situations and of a sustained patient. Patient does not mean inactive.
Right.
Patient means planned. It is the result of a patient and planned response, strategic response by the Indian side. Every time a major incident occurs, we do not have to go there and start bombing places up. We are doing things and things will be done. How they will be done, I am not in a decision-making position. But there will be a response. That can be, and there has always been a response. In most cases, you did not see the responses because it was seen as a covert war, and the essence of a covert war is that it is covert. This regime has made a particular, shall we say, exhibition of its responses. I regard that as a failure because they have sought to politicize their responses rather than to send a clear and unquestioned message across to the perpetrators that harm will come to them if they inflict harm on us. And please understand, we've come down from thousands of fatalities a year to less than 200 fatalities a year for the last several years.
Absolutely. Now we have that surgical strike, that successful surgical strike as a precedent, and that is the reason why, General Kalita, people across the country are expecting a repeat of that. Now, whether that happens or not is a different matter. I'm not saying that that should be done or not done. And now the point is, General Kalita, is that as Dr. Sani said, Pakistan is an absolute chaos at this point in time, both financially. Their army has taken severe hits. Balochistan is up in arms. The army has taken severe hits in Balochistan, and we see the army chief, making political statements and something which we in India cannot expect. So, do you think a lot of these factors, will be at play within them, and some of these elements crossing over or being allowed to cross over or facilitated to cross over? Do you think all of this can be at play in Pakistan?
See, we have to understand that any form of return to normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir would not be liked by Pakistan, and because they want Jammu and Kashmir to be continuously on boil, and through Jammu and Kashmir, of course, thereby indicating that even India should be continuously, continue to burn in various places. Likewise, they have also, we all know after the instability in Bangladesh, after the Sheikh Hasina was dethroned from our government in 5th August last year, there has been increased collaboration between the Pak Army as well as ISI with Bangladesh. With what aim? That we have to see. So Pakistan is going to continue to needle us, whether there is instability within their country or they are in economic downturn, they will continue to needle us. That's their policy. It's basically it's a question of existence of Pakistan as a state, as a nation. Based on the two-nation theory, based on which they came about. So they will continue to needle India as a country, whether through Bangladesh or whether through abetting the terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, or undertaking actions like we saw in Bombay in the attack on the Taj Hotel. So such type of activities Pakistan will continue to instigate or try and carry out.
Absolutely.
But what we need to see is the timing of this particular attack and the purpose of this particular attack. This attack has taken place during the
We'll stay with the visuals. We'll stay with the live visuals.
Vice President of US, and while the Prime Minister is in Saudi Arabia.
We'll have that visual again.
Yeah, like we have talked about it. This is basically for the